Here I am going to walk into a guy who talks at 5,000 miles a minute, and I'm going to have to go ahead and compete with this. Let's see if I'm ready. I don't think I am. I think I'm going to fail. Darren Mays, I don't dislike the guy. He seems humorous.
Hey, that's me. Who is Darren Mays? Might I ask where you came up with the name Darren Mays? Because that is not my name. It's not even close. You could not get further from my name than Darren Mays. My name is Adam. And yes, I talk fast in a lot of my videos because I have a southern accent and I have a tendency to hem and haw and all shucks. So I talk fast to try to not do that. Maybe you should just try to listen faster. Now, look, I want to offer a response. And to be honest with you, a lot of your rebuttals, while I highly disagree, it's just normal discourse. So for me to offer some sort of response to those would just be me basically going, no. So for time constraints, I want to focus on the few things that I would like to clarify. Is that okay with you, Todd?
I said it before and I'll say it again. In many parts of the country, especially in Alabama, where there are 13,000 churches, if the election was between Jesus and Satan ran under the Republican ticket, Jesus would lose in a landslide. And I'm not saying Jesus would run as a Democrat. He could be a member of the Green Party. He could be a libertarian, independent. As long as Satan had the R beside his name, conservative Christians would overwhelmingly fill in the circle on the ballot beside Beelzebub. And it'd be a hell of a campaign.
Beelzebub. Small correction. If he was running as a Green Party, Libertarian, or what have you, he wouldn't have an R in front of his name. But these are semantics. It's hard when you're talking that fast. I guarantee it.
I said Jesus could run as a member of the Green Party or a Libertarian, so of course he wouldn't have the R beside his name. That's where that whole listening faster might benefit you, and I know that I pronounced that word wrong. I think it's my southern accent because when I try to say it, it's like my mind freezes and I have to really think about it, which puts me back in that hem and haw mode, so... you go on to say that Jesus will not be in any political party or politics in general. And you know what? I 100% agree. I know this. But I also know what a parable is, an allegory, a fable, an epilogue, a hypothetical situation or hypothetical scenario. And that's what this is. I do want to thank you, though, for not going straight to Biden or Trump, because that's what most people did. And I wasn't even talking about the presidential election. What I mean is that could happen in just about any election in Alabama, even where political parties had no sway. Back in 2020, in my small town of 2,500 people, we were having the mayor and council elections. There are no party affiliations on the ballot. People that I know are conservatives. We're on Facebook, want to know each candidate's stance on issues that would never come up in our small town, national motherfucking issues. Like, what the hell does any of that have to do with our one red light town? Like, did they think some radical woke socialist will get put on the town council and all of a sudden an abortion clinic will be put in where the shut down grocery store was? Partisan politics has infiltrated down to even where conservatives wouldn't vote for someone blue in a small town election where no party affiliation is on the ballot and people have their nicknames on their campaign signs.
They point to Jesus saying, welcome all immigrants, and say, we can't have open borders. They point to him saying, render.
The difference between immigrants and illegal immigrants is the distinction here. Nobody is saying immigration is bad.
True. But in this day, conservative rhetoric has allowed people to see anyone with brown skin and an accent as not being here legally, as being a criminal, as being a rapist, as being a murderer. We have no national race. We have no national language. But conservative states are passing laws to detain people if they suspect them of not being here legally. Conservatives say, we don't care if you come here as long as you do it the right way. Well, immigrants can do everything the right way, according to conservatives, and still be profiled, detained, and treated as subhuman. The demonization of these people is extraordinary to me, extraordinarily pitiful.
Come up to him on the campaign trail and say, hey, are you that fellow that's running against Satan? And Jesus will say, I am he. And they say, oh, we don't do them pronouns around here.
We don't have a problem with he and she. It's je, jer, jim, zhao, zhu, and unicorn, and cupcake, and rainbow spotted flecked panda, which we have an issue with, and the other 63 nonsensical things that they've come up with.
Y'all absolutely have a problem with he and she if she doesn't look she enough or vice versa. Y'all absolutely have a problem with he and she when you ridicule anyone with pronouns in their bio. Y'all absolutely have a problem with pronouns when you say dumb shit like unicorn or cupcake, which aren't even pronouns.
They'd use this picture in ad saying this is what they want. Grown men in dresses reading to kids, indoctrinating our precious children with their sick agenda.
I understand your point and the different.
Then that's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. You didn't have to veer into this.
Last but not least, you're really not making a comparison to RuPaul and Jesus Christ, are you? That's where you lose me and the argument.
I might have lost you because obviously the point flew right past you, but other than that, I didn't lose shit. What I mean is that when it comes to drag queen story time, conservatives see anyone who does not fit into their definition of normal reading a book to kids, and they automatically say that they are sexualizing children. So today, if conservatives, Moms for Liberty, MAGA, if they saw a man in a dress or a robe reading a book to kids, what do you think they would say? They would say they are sexualizing children. I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire ended with a man in a dress reading a book to kids. Was Robin Williams sexualizing children? And to be completely honest with you, if you saw some of those drag performers and your mind automatically went to grown folk stuff, that is you sexualizing them. And that's on you, boo-boo.
Because they will hear everything I just said and say, well, we're not actually against any of that. We're just against the government being a part of it. But they want religion in the government because we're a Christian nation, but they don't want to do any of the teachings that the Jesus they worship taught.
I have no idea what the hell he just said.
Then, like I said, maybe you should try and listen faster, because when you have members of Congress saying on a stage that the church is supposed to lead the government, and you have the Alabama Supreme Court citing scripture in its decisions, then you cannot say that you are the party of the founding fathers and the Constitution.
What I do understand is that government should not be involved in religion in the sense of telling people that there should be a national religion, which there isn't one. There's also not a national language. There's not a national race. The United States is an amalgamation. A lot of people think English is the primary language of the United States, and there is no official one.
See there? No national language, no national race. Thanks for clarifying that for me, Todd.
Children proudly wear AR-15 lapel pins when guns are the number one killer of kids. And there are other...
It's really kind of an interesting stat. Yes, guns have overtaken car crashes and cancer and everything else. And if you actually look at the numbers, those have gone down, but the actual severity of killings and shootings are predominantly based on homicide and robbery, which happens in 37 of the 50 top cities, which are liberal. So
all you had to say was, why, yes, that is an interesting stat. You didn't have to veer into the gaslighting tactic of violent Democrat cities, 37 of the top 50. Ain't it funny that usually in big cities, ain't it weird that the places with the most people tend to have more violence, whether it's a red city or a blue city? I hear this bullshit all the time because I'm in Alabama and I hear about how violent Birmingham is. But the only reason Birmingham is so violent is because it's a Democrat city. It's a blue city, even though that blue city has the same exact gun laws as the rest of the red state, which means they hardly have any. I mean, we roll in a bag, baby. But then Democrats be blamed because the places with the most people have the same exact laws as the rest of the state. You also went into some kind of tangent about how most deaths are homicide or robbery related, but what about suicide, or what about accidental shooting? Are you trying to classify some deaths as worse than others? I mean, call me crazy, but I think a dead child is not a good thing no matter the scenario.
Sit here and say that the AR-15, which is only responsible for 12% of all those shootings that you just mentioned, is a misnomer. It's actually a 38 or a Glock or a handgun.
See, Todd, I really need you to start listening faster, because I did not attribute those deaths to AR-15s. I said AR-15 lapel pins, which is what you see conservatives wearing. You see their American flag lapel pin and their AR-15 lapel pin. If they wore a 38 lapel pin or a Glock lapel pin or a handgun lapel pin, that's what I would have said.
Most firearms are used for hunting and sport and recreation, but the number one reason is for home defense and protection. And I can't think of anything better to protect my family than a firearm. What are you going to do? Throw big words at them? You're good at it, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to fix the problem.
I love how you just said the most violent places are Democrat cities, and now you're saying that the only way I can protect my family is with big words. Look at me, Todd. Look at me. Listen to me. Listen to my accent. You know I'm from Alabama. Do you really think that I don't own anything? Do you really think that I didn't grow up running hunting dogs? Do you think that I don't go to dove shoots? Do you honestly think that I don't have anything but big words to protect my family with? You know what? You're right. You're right. That's all I have. Big words. Well over a dozen. Look, I don't have an answer to the gun control debate. I know that there needs to be something done, but I don't have the answer. I don't support taking guns or anything like that because I own everything conservatives and people like you say that I want to ban. But it's adorable when you say stuff like that.
Anyone who watches this, no matter what side of the political fray they're on, will realize that you detest religion. You don't appreciate religion.
I love the internet so much. It has allowed me to learn so much about myself from people who don't even know me. So you heard me point out the hypocrisy of some conservative Christians, and that allows you to deduce and confirm that I detest religion. And that is apparent to anyone, no matter what side of the political aisle they fall on. I don't detest religion. Todd, I'm Southern Baptist. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away in the morning. I don't detest religion. Some of the best folks I know are church folks. And some of the worst folks I know are church folks. I've told my wife when I die, I want to be cremated. And if possible, I would love for my ashes to be made into that colored sand art that we all made back in the day at Vacation Bible School, because that was some of my best childhood memories. I don't detest religion. I detest hypocrisy. I don't detest religion, not even close. I don't detest God. I love God. I don't detest God. I have no problem with God. Although I do have a problem with some of his followers. Anyways, I hope that clears things up, Todd.